Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of Stitching Tales, a podcast about all things sewing and what it's really like to run a sewing business. I am Johanna Lundström of The Last Stitch.
And I am Malena Hjerpe of Hazelhen Patterns.
And this episode is dedicated to all of you dear listeners because we asked for questions and we got questions. So in today's episode we're just going to do a simple Q&A with the type of questions that you send to us. And of course, if you want to ask more questions we love, you can either email us at stitchingtalespod@gmail.com or over at Instagram, stitchingtalespod, or YouTube, stitchingtalespod. I try to remember those. I think I've managed to get all this
I'm
right.
so happy that you always say it because
Yeah.
I would have messed that up.
Yeah, but before we get started, so what's been happening since we last spoke?
Well, not so much, to be honest. These couple of weeks I am I've full focus on freelance work. So I'm just sitting at home doing that and head down just working. But I have moved my all my studio, all my things to the new studio, so that is really nice. I haven't sat there and worked yet, but I'm moved in now, so it feels really nice.
Nice, you're so quick, because I think it was just a couple of weeks ago when you dropped this bomb, but now you're already moved.
Yeah,
you're
it
so
wasn't
quick.
that much things to move, to be honest. My sweet husband, he helped me out, and we rented a whatever you call a thing when you connect to the car, and just crammed everything in there and went for it. I did not move the Kallax, whatever you say.
Shelves,
the huge IKEA shelf. I mean, that one has moved so many times so far. So it's like, no, this furniture is gonna die in this room. It's not gonna be moved ever. It is too heavy. Too many times that we have, unpicked it and put it back together, and it just, it gets weaker every time. So it's like, we're not moving it. So I bought some new storage shelves, and so I can reorganize things a little bit as well. Also cleaned out a little bit my fabric stash. So it's good to move every now and then, I think, to, you get rid of things, you look through things, you get reminded of what you actually have and what you don't actually need. But yeah, I'm looking forward to, live in that area again and, organizing. Now I'm just putting things in the shelf, like not organizing it properly in that way. But I'm looking forward to actually working there as well. So yeah, that's what's happening on my side.
So nice. Yeah, and I'm in a similar situation. I'm moving not this weekend, but the next weekend, and I have the exact. Then. Yeah, so we're doing this by the end of October. We're gonna, and I have the same problems because I have a cutting table that is built on Kallax shelves. That because the door is too narrow, so I have to, pick it apart, all the pieces. And because I've done that so many times, because there's no door that is large enough for this, so it's exactly the same thing. I mean, the fibers are disintegrating, so I also suspect I will end up having to do the same thing, get out new shelves, because I don't think the screws will catch. Because I had the same with the IKEA wardrobe that I have dismounted and re-screwed together several times, and that was also this was like I could never do this again. So yeah, it's going to be interesting, but exciting. We are doing October moving, and we're definitely going to post pictures, of course, of our new spaces. I think we've done a little bit of that, but we haven't no after pictures, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I've taken some pictures and some video of my new space.
Yeah, and I'm also looking forward to actually get organized again, because as you say, when you're not motivated to do that organization. It's always the last thing on the list of all the things you want to do. So I agree with you. I think moving in general, while I hate it when it comes to
Same.
I always think that, wow, so much stuff, where did it all came from? I have no idea who is bringing all these things to my house. And then it's such a relief when you realize that you can get rid of so many things. And then, of course, as time passed, so I think it's a good idea for me as well. I think this is the third or fourth time I moved sewing spaces in the last 4 years, I think. Yeah, it's about once a year. I think it's good. It keeps me on my toes.
Yeah.
Also, I should say for reference, if you didn't listen to previous episode, I'm moving exactly 10 meters, which is like a little over 10 yards down the corridor.
And you're not moving everything, like you are expanding.
Exactly. Yeah. So if you're watching the video version now, you will see the background to the one side. Because fun fact, I can't tell right from left, especially now when I'm looking to a screen. It was a nightmare when I was getting my driver's license. But anyways, you can see some threads and a sewing space and machines in the background, and some of the sewing books that we've done. That will disappear and will be instead replaced by a photographer and a writer space. So my dear friend and cohabitant in the studio will take over that space, and I will move my sewing stuff to a separate room. So it will be less sewing in the background, but I'm pretty sure it doesn't make that much of a difference. I think he has a really nice idea. So I think it's going to look beautiful. It's going to be interesting to have a different background as well for his stuff.
Yeah, and have dedicated spaces to the different things that you actually do. So
100%.
that will be amazing.
And also, the thing is, I don't think I mentioned that, but he has a 1-year-old. And I mean, this is basically a death trap, because she's starting to walk any day now. And I mean, I have so much stuff. I mean, it's impossible for me. I could never ever baby proof this. And I know that he likes, he sometimes brings his daughter here as well. Because just, it has to sometimes. And so to me, that would become an increasing problem, because, it's impossible. I mean, this is a sewing space with all the sharp tools, sewing machines that might be on the needles, and this, I can't remember to turn off the sewing machines every second of the day. So, and also have like this big shelf that I can't secure to the wall. So I don't want her to think that will be some kind of situation where she wanted to climb. So for me, this was also, because it has been a stress, and that I have not been able to provide a secure, stable environment for a 1-year-old. So it's going to be nice to keep all the dangerous stuff in a separate room so she can roam free, or at least I won't be responsible for what happens. Now it's my friend Oscar who has to baby proof his stuff instead. We'll see.
Yeah, you don't want to be responsible. That was always a stress, like when you have, when you work with baby clothes or children's clothes. I mean, I've been working with it for a couple of years previously. And the stress, like children's safety, it's a huge thing. So you don't want to mess up with that. So yeah, it's a good thinking and good timing that also to move now when she is a little bit older, because I also when I was a new parent and all this like baby proofing, it's so important. But like a 1 month old is not going to crawl around in your apartment and or house and hurt itself. So like you got a little bit of time, but that 1-year-old, now it's crucial.
It's bam, yeah. It's so funny because I've been babysitting her for a couple of times now, and so when I come to the place now, the lower row of their bookshelf is now clean for books. There are no books. It's an empty, like an empty wall.
Yeah, the interior design with the small kids is like, it's not really my style, but you gotta do what you have to do.
And it's going to be worse, and before it gets better. And then if you get more kids, you will prolong that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, no, it's nice to have all the kids in that way for sure. I mean, but I remember as well, especially with the pins as well, because I was also sewing in my home when I had small children, and now. Oh no, I'm glad that period is over for sure, for lots of books and lots of reasons, even though it was kind of nice as well. All right then, should we start with the questions? Yes, shall I do the first one?
Yeah, sounds good.
I'm gonna, we have one for MK Dollars. Can you use quilting cotton fabrics for clothes?
I mean, technically, yes. Reality, maybe not. I mean, quilting cotton is usually... It depends really on what kind of project you are gonna do, if it's gonna work or not. Quilting cotton usually don't have that much drape to it, like when it doesn't fall nicely on your body. But if you have a more structured garment, then sure. Now I'm just thinking out loud now. Usually I would be a little bit careful if you use interior fabrics for clothing, because they can be like curtains and stuff. Like they can have different kind of treatments that are not really... You're not supposed to wear it on your skin. Like, for example, anti-flammable treatment on curtains so they don't burn if there's a fire like that easily. So those kind of chemicals could be hurtful for your skin. It's not meant for you to wear it. But then again, quilting cotton, those, I mean, you make baby blankets out of them. So I don't think that's an issue here. It's more if the fabric is the thickness, the fall, the drape, if it's that kind of a fabric you want to have for your specific project. So it really depends, I would say, on the project. So yeah, might.
Yeah, it
but
depends.
I mean, it depends. But I mean, there are a lot of cotton, plain weave cotton out there as well for clothing. So I mean, that's basically the same as a quilting cotton. So sure, it could work fine.
Yep.
What do you think?
No, I would say that I agree with you for the most part. As you say, there are lots of different quilting cottons, and to me, the appeal of using quilting cotton is that you get so many more prints and colorways to choose from, because if you go to a fabric store and looking for maybe cotton shirting, you may lucky to get some stripes or some children's print or something like that. But usually there are much more exciting prints, so I can definitely understand the allure of using quilted cotton fabrics for making garments, because it just makes it much more exciting to sew, I think. Also, I would say that the fabric is very easy to use. It's very stable, which is a pro and a con, but overall very easy to sew. So if you're a beginner sewist, I would definitely also say that one good way is maybe to try making some garments in that kind of quilting fabric. And one thing I will say, some quilting fabric, in my opinion, has slightly coarser surface compared to garment cotton, especially on the outside. So if you want that kind of soft sheen on your make, that sometimes quilting cotton is probably not the best fabric, because as you say, it's more geared toward making household projects rather than garments. But if you want to splurge, I think technically Liberty Lawn, cotton lawn, is also quilting fabric, and that's amazing. It has a really nice tight weave, good drape, softness to it, and a nice sheen. So that I could definitely recommend. And I will also I have actually sewn a few garments using this kind of like American style cotton quilt fabric, and I think it would work best for a structured garment. I would not use a garment, as you say, that requires drape. And I also, another thing I've used it for is to use it for pocket lining. because that's also a nice way to elevate your garments, to get those really beautiful colors and prints. You can use it on the inside of your pockets on your pants or something like that. And I found it to be very durable, surprisingly, even though it's 100% cotton. But I guess it's a good fabric for wear, I suspect. So you should definitely look at the hand of the fabric, and also think about what kind of garment you want to make. And if you want to make a flowery summer dress, I would not use quilted cotton. But if you can see, maybe, for instance, I'm going to post a picture, and all, if I can find it, that's sort of like a straight, like slightly A-line skirt with darts, using a really beautiful quilting fabric. And that worked because the fabric had some body, and so it helped with the structure. But if I would not do like a gathered summer skirt using quilting fabric.
Yeah, usually you want a little bit heavier, otherwise it's just gonna stand out than if you're using quilting cotton. But for some, for some silhouettes, that is A-line perfect for that. So yeah, depends on the project. And I mean, you can always sew a wearable toile, like a not maybe, so you can try it out. There's no harm in just trying and practicing also. So it's a lovely fabric to work with. I understand why you are drawn to it.
Yeah, totally. We get it. All right then. Do you have any question for us?
Yeah, I can have a question here. It's in Swedish. How do you, translating in here, how do you assemble a collar without collar stand in a fully lined top part? I'm not sure if she means how you sew it or how do you construct the pattern. So we can answer both there, I think.
Yeah.
So from the pattern point of view, if it's just a regular round neckline, then it's, I would say, no problem to add on a collar with or without collar stand. And here different shapes of the collar stand and different shapes of the collar will give you different kind of effect on how it is, if it's laying flat or if it has more 3D shape, or how you want it to lay, basically, or the silhouette that you want. So I would like Google and see what kind of colors there are and what are you looking for. And it is pretty easy to take a color from a different project or just construct it yourself as well. If you like find some guidelines on color constructions, like pattern making constructions, basically. You just need to make sure that the length of the collar is as long as your neckline, basically. And if you have a shirt, then it is overlapping a little bit. But usually you want the collar to go to center front line anyway. So it is really easy to just make it a little bit longer, a little bit shorter, the collar, and it will suit your neckline. Like no problems there. And sewing wise, what would you say, especially if it's lined? Anything to think of?
I just want to also say that you could pretty much get any type of pattern making book. Either you can just rent it at the library or buy one, because they usually have lots of different color options with a kind of, if you want to have it more flat or more standing up or so that. I just wanted to add that as well. I think that's a really good resource. I have several pattern making books and I've used that's been extremely helpful to draft the color, because you say it's not difficult. And for the assembly, you have to repeat the question again. So I tried. You can do it in Swedish otherwise.
How to assemble it to a fully lined garment, like for example a jacket, or that it has a lining, basically.
Okay, so it depends a little bit if it has facing on the inside as well, but and also of course it depends if it's a collar stand or a flat collar, a collar without a collar stand. It's usually, I think it's called a flat collar. But what I normally do is that before I attach the lining, this is going to be podcast sewing. How can I explain this? But I guess everyone who sews a collar will understand, and I know that all of you listening will understand. But I would first attach the collar by flipping it out to the outer side, and then sew one row along the neckline and make sure that I don't stretch out and match all the notches, which if you draft a collar yourself, you should also add notches at the shoulder point and mid-back ideally and mid-front, just to make sure that, because the neckline has a tendency of stretching out because it's cut slightly on the bias. And once I've attached the collar or the collar stand, if I want to hide, because there are basically two ways. If you're doing a shirt, of course, then you have the inside folded over the seam allowance, but I guess if you have lining, you want the collar to be inside of it. And after I attach the outside, then I sew it a second time with the lining over it. So that means that the lining and the facing will enclose the bottom edge, the raw edges of the collar, and then you just flip it over. So actually I would say it's very easy, and also it's good to have not just lining all the way, but a mix of facing and lining fabric. I think is for the best result. You can also look inside I always say look inside ready-to-wear garments, just check that how those are made, and then just apply it, because if it works good enough for the industry, because they have to figure out these things, and it's just a good way of assemblies, then you can just copy that straight ahead. So it's actually, if the collar isn't too complicated, just like a flat collar, I would say a collar is really easy to sew compared to a lot of other things. And also remember to, of course, interface it, regardless if you're using a collar stand or not. But you definitely need some kind of stability, I would say, when sewing a collar as well.
Yeah, and another tip here, if you are making a collar, that the outer collar that is going to be visible, you can have like along the grain line, or if it's a shirt, or like you want to have it the other direction, because if it's striped or something, like you want to play around with that, like that you can do. But then have the undercolor, you can cut that on bias, because then that collar part will have a little bit more movement to it, so it will fold over more nicely, so it will shape itself to the real upper collar. So that might be also a good idea if you construct it yourself, that you can have the undercolor on bias, and also depending on what kind of color you have, like what fabric you have, if it's a shirt, then they are usually exactly the same size. But if it's a bigger color for like or a heavier fabric for a jacket, for example, then the upper color that you will see, that could be a couple of millimeters wider actually, just so the seam, then when you sew it together, the upper color is gonna be a little bit bigger, so the fold, or like the seam, will be slightly underneath, so it won't be so visible. But again, depends a little bit on fabric and what kind of garment you are gonna make.
Yeah, that's a really good tip. And I should say, if you're watching the video version, I'm actually wearing I remember that because I'm wearing a version of the AV cardigan, which is one of my sewing patterns, and as Malena says, it actually has a separate undercolor, which is, as you say, slightly smaller. And also, if I'm holding it up now, if you're watching the video, you can see here how I haven't lined it, but I have hidden the collar seam inside the interfacing. So if you would lift or the facing, I mean, if you lift, you will see the seam, and then I just fold it over, and you would do the same thing if you had a lining the entire way. And I actually, on my blog, I have a tutorial for how to make a smaller undercolor, because I definitely think it's so nice, especially when you're sewing, and it's a little bit easy sometimes to get it stretched out, and then you see that peeking through, and it kind of, I think it brings down the look a little bit. But I mean, so very, very good tip there, and I will link to that tutorial as well. If you also any solid pattern making book should also show how to do that, I think.
Yeah. So I hope we
Great.
answered your questions now. If you have some follow-up question, just contact us.
Perfect.
Yes.
All right then. Next question. Biggest sewing failure?
Yes, I can take my first. I think I have talked about this one already, but worth repeating. I mean, it was back in the days. When I was in school, when I studied 20 years ago, I was sewing we have this. I was sewing a ball gown. I was supposed to sew one for my friend and one for me, and hers turned out beautifully. I mean, she got so many compliments, like from random people. And this is in Finland. We don't compliment each other that much. So yeah, it was. I was really happy with that one. Mine, I don't know what I was thinking with the fabric choice and with everything. Ended up in the trash on the street. That's how well that one turned out. And my sister had to mail her dress with a post, and it came like 2 days before the event. So yeah, that one.
Yeah, and it's because such a high stake fail as well. Those are the worst ones, because if you just want to, I'm going to make a t-shirt and it didn't turn out, it's like, but here's like a big occasion.
Yeah, exactly.
Fabric with a price tag.
Yeah, and it wasn't that cheap
No,
either.
and it's also so interesting. I wonder mentally, because I thought about that too, because I realized I'd never failed with anything I've sewn for someone else. I wonder if one is a little bit, more, when it comes to making things for other people, because I've done a couple of really difficult projects for others, and those have turned out beautifully, some despite lack of experience in some cases.
Yeah, and you also like I only do things that I know I can deliver. But when it comes to myself, it's like, well, let's experiment a little bit here. No. What's your biggest sewing fail?
Yeah, I try to remember which one, and I think I would say it's difficult because I don't have one of those massive fails, because I thought maybe I bought some really expensive fabric and it turned into a dud, but I haven't really had those experiences. But I will say one. I'm going to post a image of that as well. I will say honestly, most of my biggest fails has been using the wrong type of fabric for a project, which has made the garment unwearable or unsewable for various reasons. And one of the biggest offenders is, I hope it's not available to buy anymore. It should be a ban on this fabric. I will try to describe it. It was available when I started sewing in the 80s. It was available, and this fail was actually in the 2000s, so it was much later on. But it's a very drapey, lightweight interlock, which combines cotton and rayon. So the hand is almost like silk jersey, but it's interlock fabric, and it doesn't have any spandex, so it's just cotton and rayon or viscose. And as soon as you look at the fabric, it starts to expand. I mean, there is absolutely no effing way of keeping that fabric in check. You cannot hem it. You cannot sew a sleeve. You cannot add a pocket. Basically, you should not touch it, because it feels like you could maybe sew like a pyjama from it, but I wouldn't do that, or I wouldn't sew underwear, because you would end up with a pair of knickers that was twice the size of your original. So honestly, and I guess you could drape it, but then again, you would not be able to hem it. So maybe 20 years ago or something like that, I had the idea of making, maybe 15 years ago, I had an idea of making a cardigan with pockets. I usually like to do a simple draped, it was a very simple pattern. And it turned out so crazily bad. And then I tried to save it with, adding pockets, and I will have to post picture over our Instagram account so you can see some. I don't think I have all the original pictures, but I have like a collage that I posted on the blog back then, and that was probably one of my biggest fails, and that's why I think it's so good that we keep talking about fabrics on this podcast, because I think I'm not alone in that completely underestimating or not understanding what a fabric can, how much that can truly make or break a fabric project. And I have a few more of those.
What purpose did that fabric have? Like, what were the intention when they made it? Like, what was the thought, end product? Like, what were they thinking? Like,
100%. I don't understand, because you could, when you could feel like, oh, I could make this beautiful wrap dress, as you, like a Diane von Furstenberg wrap dress because of the silk and the sheen, but it would not be a fitting. I mean, you could of course try it, but it will completely lose its shape as soon as you put it on the body and just start to sag and expand. And so I have no idea. I wonder those manufacturers, if I guess you could make a shawl.
That will grow in size while you wear it.
Yeah, exactly. So it starts with a shawl and it's a blanket by the end of the day. I guess that's it. I mean, honestly, I cannot I cannot imagine what else you could. So don't be lured by those. I think in general, a certain type of interlock fabrics, especially when they don't have any elastin and are made with cotton or under very unstable, they are tricky to sew, I would say.
Yeah, it's so no. And there I get a little bit that's so provoking for me. Like we talk about sustainability and overproduction. It's like, don't produce crap. If that was not produced, let's start with eliminating bad products. Then we can talk on improving the existing products, like that are good. But like, can we just not produce those kind of things? Or like badly, like those will like pill within half an hour of wearing, or like be distorted in wash, or just bad fabrics. Like, no.
Yeah, I so agree, and I think that's a still a common problem is the fact that fabrics are not up to par what they should be, and you would think that they have some type of quality assurance and testing, stress testing. In my ideal world, I think that most manufacturers would focus on making just good, solid. I mean, couple of 2 different fabric variations, test them. Just improve, and they can make small modification in colorways or prints or whatnot. But you know that if you buy from that particular manufacturer, it will stand up, it will hold its shape, it will not pill. And that goes, of course, for buying clothes as well. I mean, it's surprising still how many bad quality fabrics that there are out there. So I agree with you. It's really upsetting.
Yeah, and unfortunately it goes hand in hand, I think, with it being cheap to manufacture. But the outcome is bad. So what's really cheap and expensive then if you can't wear it, to be honest? So yeah, that's a little rant from my side. Sorry.
Yeah, sorry. I got in a bad mood now. I feel like, I'm going to go fight.
But we got one question next then. A little bit, not similar, but on the same topic. What sewing tools are overrated? And I think I mean, we have talked about this. I'm more of a keep it simple. You don't need that much. You are more of a gadget girl. Like you want to try out the different kind of tools. What have you found to be overrated?
Yeah, I felt almost targeted by this question, and because we mentioned earlier in the podcast, I said I had this tower of shelves. There are also Kallax, by the way, from IKEA, that is not baby proof, and those are actually filled with little small plastic boxes with nicely organized sewing tools. So I should probably just pull out a drawer and look inside, and I could probably give you a good answer. But I will give a general answer, because I did think long and hard about this question, and I will say I do love a lot of my tools. But one thing, because I know I have a couple of plastic bins with a lot of these that I'm not touched in years, and unfortunately they were not cheap either, and that is specialty presser feet. I think I said it in plural right correctly, because regardless if you're using a regular sewing machine, a serger, or a cover stitch machine, the manufacturer always have this different specialty foots. They can help you hem, they can help you sew a narrow hem, they can help you do a flat fell hem. They can do pin tucks for you. They can do gathers. They can do pleats. They can have different coatings. And I would say I I hardly ever use those. I have one of those. I bought it. It's not like a brand one, but I have this Gather press-a-foot for. But I think I have one. Honestly, I think I have. Maybe I have one for the surgery as well. I don't think I bought that. Was included, but I have one of those really weird gather foots. I'm going to post. It looks like a real old thing. I tried it once and it was awful. And I mean, sewing gathers isn't that tricky. I mean, you can just sew a couple of rows of stitching and pull, and then you will be good to go. The same goes for narrow hem. It's an extremely difficult press-a-foot to learn, I would say, from a regular sewing machine. I was underwhelmed with the flat fell press-a-foot, especially if you use it for heavier fabric. And I also was funny, I was included, I have an old Malena. I also have a press-a-foot just for zigzag stitches. Have you heard of anything like that before, Malena? Oh, it's crazy.
No, that's a little bit like, so, yeah, what's the difference between a regular, I mean, the regular standard press-a-foot and the zigzag press-a-foot? Like,
yeah, the space in the middle where the needle moves is a little bit deeper, but I mean, you can sew whatever width and whatever length of a zigzag stitch using your regular press-a-foot. So I was glad I didn't pay extra money for that. And I can also think that when you're new to sewing or feel a little bit challenged by certain things, it could be easy. Oh, I can just buy this press-a-foot that will automatically fold and hem something, for instance. And then you realize that the learning curve is enormous, and you just toss it in and do it the old-fashioned way with just a regular press-a-foot and some other tips and techniques. So I would say buyer beware, I would say.
Yeah, I think if you have a special project, special fabric that requires a specific foot, then buy it. But like, there is no need to buy them in like, if you don't know, are not sure if you are gonna need it or not, no need to buy it in before that. Yeah, because I would say honestly, if I look into the two I use the most is just the regular standard press-a-foot and the narrow zipper-foot, because I do find that is helpful when you need to sew in very narrow situations. I think that's helpful. But apart from that, the most, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So what's your answer?
I don't have the. I also try to think of like, but I don't have a specific thing. I mean, I think, my personal opinion, rotary cutters are overrated. But I mean, that's just personal opinion.
We're
or
done
is it
with this
unpopular
podcast.
opinion? No, but it's just like
Hot
that
take
doesn't
from
work
Malena.
for me.
Rotary
I mean,
cutters.
but if I'm working with like cutting bias tape, like long, straight, sure, then it will be fine. But for me, no, I prefer my scissors. But that's just personal opinion. Someone else might love their rotary cutter and will swear by them, and then it's like, okay, well, then perfectly fine for them. So I do think it's a little bit depending on what you need. I mean, for example, I have some those kind of small little things that will help you thread a needle. I never use that because I don't have any problem with threading a needle. But if you have difficulty in your fingers or a little not perfect sight, like you can see, then that might be your lifesaver. But for me, I don't need it. So it's really like, it depends a little bit on your needs and what is overrated and not. So I find it a little bit difficult to say like, oh, those so unnecessary. But for someone else, it might be a lifesaver. So it's, it's, but I mean, I do find the classic ones, I keep them and I can do most of the things with them, mostly because I'm comfortable with them. It's just that I don't have the energy to buy, find, and figure out how other things work. So it's also a little bit of a laziness from my side. Yeah. Why don't I have so many different things? So it really depends. I mean, what you prefer and not. A person who don't have any problem with taping together PDF patterns find it mindful. They will think a projector is overrated, while someone who hates taping them together will find the projector being the magical solution. So I think it depends a little bit on your, yeah. But I would definitely agree with the zigzag press a foot. No, the regular is fine.
Yeah, yeah.
You can do
And
zigzag stitch with that as well. Like, don't fall for those. I think that's like a more
no,
sale for the
if
company.
if there's a slight improvement, it's gonna be so minimal that you won't be able to spot the difference for sure. And of course, I will say that with the caveat, and I know that for some people, maybe one of these presser foot feet that I mentioned are a lifesaver. For instance, you love your gathering foot and you do use it all the time. And you bring up a good point there, that maybe I think you should also understand that when you buy a new tool, there's a learning curve, and you have to be prepared to invest sometimes a little time and sometimes a lot of time in order to really fully get the value of it. So for instance, if you get a rotary cutter mat, it's a big investment. I totally agree with that. And then if you feel like, oh, but it's so difficult, it's much faster, more precise to use a pair of scissors, then of course it's gonna sting a little bit that you made that investment. So I think that's the problem, because sometimes you don't know until you actually buy something if it actually was a good investment. But I would say that a lot of those time-saving tools will end up taking more time in the beginning. So you have to like know yourself. Are you one of those people who love to do practice stuff, or do you just want to get down and start sewing? If you're in the latter category, then maybe you shouldn't spend too much money on those helpful tools.
Yeah, and I also can say on the sewing machines, I mean, some machines have like a million different like embroidery seams and like really fancy seams, and I mean, I have used them once on my machine, just for the fun to try it out, but I've never used them in reality. So those things for me is a little bit overrated, but maybe for somebody else they are gonna use it a bit more, then sure, fine. But usually it's like those special scenes, like, are you ever gonna use them? So don't, if a salesperson is like trying to push a certain machine on you because of these flashy seams, I mean, no, that I think is a little bit overrated. But that because I would never use them. I don't have that kind of project that I will actually, it would be beneficial for me. So don't fall for that. Rather, I would say prioritize a machine that runs smoothly, like does quality when it comes to that. Not, flashy seams that are hardly ever used.
Yeah, you bring up a really good point, because I think about that. Even like basic sewing machines, they have so many random weird stitches that no sane person would ever think was pretty. I mean, sorry, I'm going out and I'm gonna get like hate DMs now, but especially older sewing machines. I mean, it's one thing if you have this high-end embroidery machine and you're really good at doing embroidery, but if you go and look at the selection of, I'm putting quotation mark here, decorative seams that a lot of basic sewing machines, I mean, are they even good looking? I mean, debatable. I will just say that, debatable. There are a couple of nice ones that you can use, of course, to finish edging, hems or a little bit of decoration. But I mean, sorry, but they should probably spend more time and money developing the sewing machine than trying to add those selection of decorative stitches. I mean, my old Benin from the 80s has so many decorative stitches, and I've tried a couple and they didn't even turn out that well.
Yeah, no, mine as well. It's like, when would I ever use these? But instead, like, having a machine that doesn't get skipped stitches, that can handle both woven and knits, that maybe have a walking presser foot. That one, I have never tried one, but that one a little bit more interested in. But then again, I think that would be really helpful with sewing with knit, but I have an overlocker, so I use that one instead when I sew my knits. So I don't really need one in that sense. So yeah, but those machine quality, I would say go for quality when it comes to machine, not flashy stuff.
Oh, yeah. Good point. Did you have any more questions, or should we move on? We got a couple of...
It was not really a question, but I just like, I still want to say it because I feel same here. I had a really good question a while ago when I listened to your podcast. Now it's gone. And I'm like, yeah, I hear you. I can have like a feeling several days. It's like, I was thinking of something. And it's just so annoying. It's like, what was it? Was it something I was supposed to do? Have I forgotten something? Was it important? Or was it just a fun idea? Or like that frustration is... Yeah, so I can just say, I hear you, I feel you. Reach out to us whenever the question comes back to you. No worries, we will have more Q&As.
Oh, for sure. And I think we're definitely going to, because we got a few but those are a little bit longer email that I also want to read out. But I think we're going to maybe finish a couple of other episodes to read, because we're actually gotten a few emails now at the stitching talespod@gmail.com email address. And so apologies because we didn't get so many messages. I was bad at checking them. But now we have compiled a couple of ones, and we're going to read those. And we also got a final question, which was a little bit unsure that we maybe have answered previously, but we can answer it more again with updated information. And the question is, when will our next patterns be released? And I think the last time we got that question, we hadn't released what we'd done previously, maybe, because you released the Bilberry top not too long ago.
Yes, that was in the making. So now it is released finally, and I have the next pattern I'm planning on releasing is Nipita dress, which I made for Tauka magazine, but now I have my own grading. I mean, according to my own size chart, and since the pattern is done, I mean, I need to still do it nice as a PDF pattern, but still, like, the construction is done, the sewing instructions in English is done, I have illustrations for all, or diagrams for all the sewing steps, so that is like prepared. So it is like, so I have all the material, I just need to do it. So I definitely want to do that. We'll see when it's gonna happen. I think you reminded me that I've mentioned that this year I might actually release both Bilberry and Nipita.
No, yes, that was the goal when we did the goal for 2025, and now we're recording this in mid-October.
Yeah.
So you have 1.5 months. Let's do this.
Yeah, I mean,
or not.
Yeah, not never gonna happen.
Okay.
It was a fun idea in the beginning, but no, realistically, not gonna happen. But I mean, I have made the material is done, like the hard work is done. Now it's just bringing it all together into proper sewing instructions and doing the layout and things. So it will be done eventually, but don't hold your breath. Usually, well, that's when I'm gonna get things done.
It will happen eventually.
It will happen eventually. Yeah. I want to go out on a limb and say that it will be done before our next book is released, because that also are patterns that we are working on.
Yes, it's going to be a lot of patterns there.
I don't know. We'll see. Because, we have a book coming up soon.
With patterns. So you're gonna see a lot of patterns for us in the future. I mean, so many patterns that we are having to plan for that book. So of course they're gonna be, but that's gonna take a little while. We're gonna start working on that book again very soon. And for me, I definitely want to start releasing pattern because I have not released one pattern in 2025. And I love making and designing patterns, but due to lack of time and other things on my big to-do list, I haven't done one. But I hope with the help of Malena that I would release a blouse pattern made in jersey fabric. in the next year, hopefully in March. That's the plan. It's going to be like a really nice blouse. So I'm basically building on my like capsule wardrobe concept for the last stitch patterns, where I just add garments that are a little bit more, I wouldn't say advanced, but a little bit elevated. Not your basic tee, more of a little, it looks a little bit dressier. So you can wear it in all kind of instances. So I'm pretty much done with the idea for that, but nothing concrete has happened except that yesterday I was Googling names for the pattern, and I think I have a settle on the name. But that's how far I've come on this one. But it's really fun. I love releasing new patterns. I actually really enjoy the process of doing it, and hopefully my goal is to, now that I do this full time, is to be able to release at least 2 garment patterns a year, not months. I mean, that will ever happen. Where's the team? Nowhere. But hopefully I will be able to release 1 spring style and 1 fall style. That will be my dream.
Yeah, that would be
forward.
so nice.
We'll see.
But you have quite a lot of accessories as well in your collection. Do you have any thoughts on any new accessories, or is it garments that you're focusing on? I haven't,
because that's definitely something on my mind as well. I haven't really done that. So I have 4 hats patterns and 1 mittens pattern. And I would definitely like to expand that as well, because it's such a nice like palette cleanser as well, because when you do a garment there are so many things that goes on, but you don't have to think that much about the fit and the construction, and usually sewing instructions are much easier. So we'll see. I'm just waiting for the ideas to manifest themselves, and I know this is going to happen. So hopefully next year we will release more patterns. That's we will know that in some one form or another there will be new patterns for us, I think, in the next year. I'm pretty confident in saying that.
Yeah, I think so too. And especially, I mean, when we have a project together, for some reason it get done more quickly when you do it together, and you have somebody who is holding you accountable like you want to deliver then. So I think the book is I have a good feeling about it.
Yeah, I feel super excited. I feel definitely like a enlightened, because I was just feeling super inspired by it right now. So we'll keep you updated on that project as well moving forward. But this was a really fun Q&A episode, and you can definitely just ask us questions, and we will try to have a way of, so we do have a document, but sometimes, just like when you have a question and forget it, sometimes we get a question and then we forget to paste it into the document. So if you asked us questions and we didn't answer it, sorry, apologies. But please just send them again.
Yeah, and sometimes they are so good that we actually plan to do a future episode about it. So also if you have tips or things you want us to discuss in the podcast, just let us know.
Excellent. So thank you so much for listening. I am Johanna Lundström.
And I am Malena Hjerpe. Bye bye.
Bye bye.